part-time security work the story I am about to tell. It was a real experience that happened 20 years ago when I was in college. At that time, I had just started college, but because my parents' business failed, so I suddenly lost my tuition and living expenses, falling into a state of poverty. But because I was attending a private university in Tokyo at the time, the annual tuition fee was almost 1.2 million yen. Even though I dared not spend much, no matter how frugal I was, it was still very difficult to live without 1,201 yen per month. I calculated that I needed to earn at least 200 to 500 yen per month. It was really not easy to go to college while earning so much money. If it were in recent years, I might be able to do some business using the internet. If I had some capital, perhaps I could also make some money through stocks. But at that time I had neither money nor time to do such leisurely things. In short, it was a state where I had to earn money every day to survive. Apart from being able to exchange labor for money, I really had no other options. For this reason, I began to inquire with people around me, hoping to find a job that saved both physical strength and time. After inquiring with all my friends, a senior finally introduced me to a night security job. The workplace was the headquarters building of a large insurance company. From 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 a.m. the next day on weekdays, 9,000 yen per night. On weekends and holidays, from 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. the next day, 24 hours, you can get 16,000 yen. You might think this job is quite time-consuming, and the earnings are not much. The cost-performance ratio is not very high. But this part-time job has a great feature. That is, I don't need to stay awake all the time. As long as everyone in the building gets off work, I can take a nap until the next morning. And there is also a shower room in the building. I can even save the money for going to the bathhouse. What's better is that on weekends, only I and another senior are on duty. We take turns every 2 hours, and no one cares what you do when you are off duty. When approaching exams, I could use that time to earn money and review. At that time, in addition to this job, I also did several part-time jobs at the same time, but I thought the conditions of this job were the best, so I arranged the other part-time jobs around this part-time work. Although this part-time job has so many advantages, there is still one point that concerns me very much. That is, everyone says that there are ghosts in this building. Although I don't have any so-called psychic ability and don't really believe in the existence of ghosts, but I have been afraid of dark places since I was a child, and I like to watch TV programs about ghosts. While feeling extremely terrified, I still can't help staring at the TV. That is to say, I am the kind of person who does not believe in the existence of ghosts, but feels fear in my heart. Back to the main topic. 2 months after I started the security work, I first heard about the ghost rumors from a senior. That senior was also a college student who came to work. We had a lot of common troubles as poor students and got along very well. One day he suddenly said to me, "By the way, Sato, don't you think there is a disgusting feeling in this building at night? I've heard many part-time students say that they have seen ghosts here." Then the senior told me that he had also encountered something strange here. The company mainly consists of two buildings, the main building and the branch building. The two sides are only connected on the first floor and the underground first floor. The security guard's restroom is on the underground first floor of the main building. After everyone leaves in the evening, we will doze off there, since the air conditioning in the restroom is not very effective. In the summer, we would sleep with the door of the restroom open. That night was very hot, and the senior, as usual, slept with the door open. As a result, around 2 a.m., he heard the elevator of the branch building in the distance. Suddenly there was the sound of the door opening, and it was not just once, but several times in 20 minutes. At first, the senior thought it was another security guard who was on duty with him, patrolling. But when asked the next morning, the uncle said, "No, I was already asleep at that time." That is to say, the elevator was operating on its own in the empty building. I replied to him, "Really, this sounds super creepy, doesn't it?" But I was relieved in my heart that I had never encountered such a thing. Little did I know that soon after, I would have an even more terrifying experience. Usually at 11 p.m., after the security guard has patrolled the main building and the annex, all the lights would be turned off and the doors locked. Then at 4:30 a.m. the next morning, all the doors of the building would be open again. Each night, two employees would be on duty. One was a veteran staff member from the security company. The other was a student working part-time, that is to say, from 11 p.m. to 4:30 a.m. There should only be two people in this building. The uncle I was on duty with was extremely kind. He always said gently, "Let me lock the doors. Sato, you can go rest first." One night, an employee from the annex worked overtime until very late. After locking all the other doors, I returned to the guard room and told the uncle that there were still people in the annex. We still needed to go to the annex once more after they finished work. The uncle's expression darkened, and he said to me, "Sato, I'm sorry, I don't really want to go to the annex. Can you go and lock the door after the last person leaves?" I verbally agreed, but my heart was filled with countless questions. Seeing the uncle's embarrassed expression, he stammered and told me, in the past, someone hanged themselves on the 8th floor of the annex. That's why I don't really want to go to the annex, I'm sorry. At this moment, I remembered what my senior had said a few months ago and asked the uncle, "Is it true that something really comes out from there?" But the uncle refused to say more. Although I felt somewhat uneasy, I still couldn't give up this good job. So it went on for a few more months until one winter morning, I put on my cold weather gear and prepared to open all the locks of the company at 4 o'clock. The building is built on a slope with the main entrance on the 2nd floor. Next to the main entrance is a spiral staircase leading to the 3rd floor. I started unlocking from the top floor and came down the spiral staircase. Looking at the entrance from the staircase, the main entrance, lobby, and reception area came into view in turn. That day, as usual, I walked down the stairs to unlock the main door. The air in the depths of winter was so cold it seemed to be frozen. Looking down from the staircase, I vaguely saw the front desk. At that moment, I got goosebumps all over my body, because there was a humanoid figure sitting at the front desk. I was so scared that I immediately averted my gaze. As mentioned before, besides the uncle and me, there should be no one else in this building. but I did see a figure at the front desk. I tightly held onto the handrail of the spiral staircase, thinking that if I looked back and saw someone sitting at the front desk, I was too scared to look back, but I couldn't stay there forever. I made up my mind to look at the front desk again. The street lights outside illuminated part of the entrance hall. It felt like the air over there hadn't changed at all. I shone my flashlight on the ground and opened the main door. Then I came to the center of the lobby, avoiding looking at the front desk on my right. Unnaturally, I turned my head to the left and quickly walked deeper into the building. In terms of time, it should have only been a few dozen seconds, but I had never experienced such a terrifying thing. After unlocking all the doors, I returned to the guard room. At that time, the first cleaner had not yet arrived, which means that no one could have been at the front desk just now. The uncle said, "Sato, you've worked hard." But I didn't tell him what I had just seen, because even if I told him, he might not believe it. After that, I continued my work as a security guard, but I no longer used the spiral staircase. More than 20 years have passed since then, and the large insurance company went bankrupt, but the building was preserved. Now it is a government office in a district of Tokyo, and there are probably hundreds of people working there every day. The uncle who worked with me at that time should have long been retired. Now, probably no one knows that someone once committed suicide in that building. Every time I pass by the station near that building, I always recall my part-time job experience from my student days and feel a chill down my spine.